So it's so easy to look at people that are successful and achieving greatness, people that are superstars, celebrities, and so forth, and to look at them as somebody that's lucky or somebody that's blessed, or and we can compare ourselves to them, and we can feel bad about our own situations from what we're going through in our life in comparison to them and to what they've achieved in their life. But if you look at anybody that is extremely successful, take a look at the people that you really admire and that you look up to, people that whoever it is in your eyes that is really successful in whatever field, take a minute to study their life and to look at the biography of them from childhood up to where they are today. And what you'll find a lot of times from the majority of people that are really successful is that up until that point that they actually went through a tremendous amount of suffering, pain, failure, and adversity until they became successful. And that somehow, some way, they were able to turn their mess of a life into a message that they just continued failing forward. And I'll give you a couple examples of that. And there was this young boy, and he couldn't keep up with the rest of his peers. He couldn't even speak. He couldn't even talk. And by the time that he was 7 years old, he couldn't even read or write when all the rest of his peers could read and write. And he was holding back the rest of his class to where his teachers literally went to his parents and they said, "This kid's got to go. I mean, he's just holding back the betterment of the group, the betterment of the class. I mean, he's just got to go. He's bringing us down." And so he got pushed out of school and put into work, immediately into job. And every single job that he had, he got fired from, job after job after job. And everything that this young boy had ever known up into his entire life, all he'd ever known was failure. Up until when he was 21 years old, he failed at everything. Just been labeled a retard and a failure. When he turned 21 years old, he finally had this idea. He developed a passion within him. And he decided that he was going to burn the midnight oil at this idea, trying to accomplish it. And he worked day and night at this idea, and he failed over and over again. Over 1,000 times he failed at this idea, until finally one day he developed the light bulb. And that's Thomas Edison. Take, for example, Roger Bannister. He was the first person in history to ever break the 4-minute mile, which was said that it couldn't be done, that it was said it was humanly impossible. People that studied the human body and scientists and so forth said that it wasn't even manly possible. And when Roger Bannister was a young boy, he actually had a thing of kerosene that exploded and burnt his legs to a crisp. And the doctor said he would never even be able to walk again. Well, later on in life, he not only did he be able to walk again, but he actually became a good runner. And he started having some great accomplishments in his running career. And in his country, Great Britain at the time, they were suffering politically in history, and they needed a leader, a hero, someone to help bring their country some hope to the country. And so he won the ability to participate in the Olympics, and they had a lot of aspirations for him, that he was going to be the shining star that was going to provide their country with hope, that he was going to win the Olympics. And not only did he lose, he didn't even come in first, second, or third place. He lost so badly that the newspapers and everybody criticized him, condemned him. They were even attempted to sue him because they said that he had led false hope to the country. But he didn't give up on that, and because of that, he kept pursuing, and he turned his mess of a life into a message and said he was going to devote everything he had in his willpower to being the first person in history to accomplish the 4-minute mile, and he did that. Tony Robbins, when he grew up in a broken home, wasn't even born with his father's last name, and he grew up in a very difficult household. And when he was 17 years old, he actually left his home on Christmas Eve with no money, nothing on his back, because he was in such a dramatic household that he just left home with nothing, no money, no anything. Had to end up getting a job as a janitor, working after school until about 3 o'clock in the morning, only getting about 2 hours of sleep every single night, and finally to the point where he had to leave school. And by the time he was 21 years old, he was extremely obese, he was broke, and he was broken down. His personal life was nothing left in it, and he decided at that point that he was going to turn his mess of a life into a message and positively impact other people's lives. So, I know it's easy to look at the difficult situations that we are going through in our lives as failures, or to to compare ourselves to people that we idolize, but just to realize that you might be that next great story, and that what you're going through right now may be just part of a chapter in your book that you are writing, and that you are to use this mess of what you are going through in your life and what you have been through up into this point to turn it into a message that can literally change the entire world. So be it, if it impacts enough people's lives. So whatever you are going through in your life, just remember that you can turn that mess into a message.